We have a goal in Quantum Savvy to one day with our horse trainers to not need to have people whose role it is to fix problem horses, and one day to not have the role for somebody to start horses under saddle, because those two things should become obsolete. We shouldn't need those things if horses are developed properly from birth. So again, it's a question of you can fix them. Through Quantum Savvy we have our step-by-step program that you go through, that as you do that you build your understanding of the language of the horse, you build your connection with your horse, you build your confidence working with horses, and the other side of that is that your horse learns to understand you and communicate their needs to you as well, so you're growing together. So that's kind of the fixing thing. But again, I would always bring it back to why aren't they confident, why aren't they calm? They were before. If they're not with you on their back.
If you're teaching a horse, you should be teaching it, educating it, communicating with it. A lot of people just train the horse. Now, training is more like exercise, gymnastic, going to the gym to build your muscles. Building your muscles doesn't make you any smarter, so surprisingly. And so a lot of people go out and train their horses physically, but then don't have any connection. And as a matter of fact, all the shine in your horse's eyes, the movement, everything starts to get less the more they get overtrained. If you ever see an old school horse who's done a lot of training, or a lot of, say dressage, or a lot of trail riding centres, riding centres, those horses just have that blank look on their face, and it's so sad to see. We like to use a method that keeps the horse curious and keeps them connected with the people, because that's what we're in it for. We love our horses, and we wouldn't want them to just glaze over and put up with us.
I would like to see people realise that they've got to stop blaming the horse. The horse doesn't need fixing. We've got to stop saying my horse is hard to catch, or my horse bucks when I ride, or my horse pushes through my space, or my horse. We've got to stop blaming the horse. That's one of the biggest things. Everybody has something with their horse that they want to fix. And I think any time you ask yourself or anybody that question, what you should be saying is, what am I missing? What am I not doing? So I think the one big bugbear for me is that people need to accept that they've got to become horsemen themselves. It's our responsibility, it's not the horse. Stop trying to fix the horse. Fix you, fix yourself. You do that and the horses will be fine. The acceptance level we have around what's okay with horses, with what we think is normal around horses, and that really does make me sad, because I think it's easy to see somebody being outwardly cruel or abusive to a horse, or using a whip or kicking or really pulling on their mouth or tying them into a false frame. It's easy to see that person say, you know what, that's wrong, don't do that, it's wrong, because it stands out as obviously wrong. But I think what really saddens me to the heart the most is that there's so many little things that a lot of people do, the majority of people do on a day-to-day basis, horse lovers, people that generally love their horses, that they just think is normal and okay. So, you see people riding around with constant contact on the horse, or constantly kicking the horse, or leaning all over the forehand, putting weight on the horse's forehand all the time, or tying them down, or thinking it's okay to put nosebands on. There's just an ongoing list of little things that we do, the way that we ride, getting our weight all up over the forehand instead of with the movement of the horse. All these little things, they're not outwardly cruel, but they are, and they all add up. And what happens is that the horses they just gradually shut down more and more and more and tolerate more and more and more, but we lose all the beauty and the majesty and the uniqueness of the horse because we just contain them with all these things that we think are okay. And people are doing it all the time. They think that's the way to be. Just go and catch your horse and drag him around and tie him here and throw the saddle on and get on him and kick him and pull his head in and clamp his mouth shut and go for a nice ride on the beach and ride him so that his front end breaks down before he turns 10, and then say, I've had a lovely ride today. And the poor old horse is had to succumb to all that every day, every time they get ridden. I think that's the reason that makes me sad, is because I think it's insidious. It's a small thing that creeps through everything. So it's hard to pinpoint, hard to put your finger on. It doesn't stand out as being shockingly cruel, which is the easy thing to see, but it's just there through everything. It's like if you have a body of water and you put in a couple of drops of poison, the whole lot's gone. It's just a little bit, but it just creeps through everything.
Everybody's got something that they need better. Myself, my students, we all have something, and if we haven't, we're not looking hard enough. So there's always something, but some of the most common things that I see that could be easily avoided is number one in the groundwork is being too quick with the tools, not using body language first. It should, and that comes into riding too. Body language first, lifting yourself up, focusing your position, getting yourself set, offering, then use your phases. You know, use your pressure after everything else has been put into play. And it's the same when you ride. You know, when you ride, you need to be in rhythm with the horse. One day, if you're good at rhythm, the horse will just follow your rhythm. You won't have to use your legs, your hands. It'll just be from the way you carry yourself, you will match together like two perfect dance partners. But if you always use your hands, always use your reins, your horse and you're never going to learn to ride, and your horse is never going to learn to follow your rhythm. Offer the rhythm first, and in the riding and in the groundwork, use your body language first. That would be the two main things. I think if we could change those things, that would be fantastic. You know why people don't? Because of our control. We want to control. So instead of using our body language first or using our rhythm, we go straight into pressure. And this is a human instinct, and that's what we need to avoid.
Real communication with anything, whether it's with a horse or another human being, starts with listening. And I think most of us as humans are too busy telling. We want the horse to do what we want them to do, so we tell them what we want them to do, and we don't either through... I don't think people mean to not listen. I think we're just so keen for the horse to do what we want. A part of us knows that they're our possession. Even the biggest horse lovers, that's my horse. He should do what I want him to do. But we forget to listen, and communication is all about having a mutual conversation. It's about having rapport, and that can't be a one-sided thing. So the more you listen to your horse, the more feedback you get from your horse about how he feels about things, then the better communicator you can become. You know, we've brought them into our environment, but we need to teach them how to cope in that environment. They need us to be good leaders. They need, this might sound strange, but they need boundaries. They need to know what the rules are of living in a human environment. And I don't mean as in, you've got to do this. I mean, where can I be? How can I be? Where's the safe spot? Where are the things that I need to keep me happy? So, and that's one of the biggest things that I see missing. The biggest mistakes that people make is that we either are dictating to our horses and trying to control everything, or else there's the opposite side of that, where people just say, you've got to be nice to your horse, you've got to be soft and be gentle, but they go too far. And the horse it's like children, they have no boundaries and no rules, so they don't know where to be. So you end up with a horse that's, if it's controlled all the time, it becomes very introverted and very fearful, and they just withdraw into themselves and they learn how to cope in their human environment just by shutting off. Or else you get a horse that becomes very emotional, that's always searching for someone, please just tell me where I can be. If you think about a horse in a herd situation, there's a very definite hierarchy, and the horses that are the happiest are the ones that know where they are in the herd. It doesn't mean they're the boss horse or the bottom, but they know where they belong. They know the structure of their day. So I think that's what they need from us. They need us to take care of them. It's becoming a horseman. I think we talk about a horseman being a horseman, but I think very few people know what that is. You can't just have a horse. You can live with a horse for 20 years and still not be a horseman. You have to really invest yourself into learning about horses, what they need, why they do what they do. Just riding a horse every day for 6 hours a day for 20 years isn't going to make you a horseman. Being able to stay on any horse no matter what they do doesn't make you a horseman. It makes you a good rider. So it's, you know, we need to be looking ourselves at becoming a horseman. And then any horse that you come across, you could go up there with a horse that you've never met before and still have a good partnership and a good relationship in minutes, in moments. It takes moments to create that connection with any horse. A horseman is somebody who really tries to gain empathy with a horse, who listens to the horse, who takes the feedback from the horse and works on themselves constantly to become better at working with horses. So riding, handling them on the ground, all those things are really, really important, but I think the biggest thing is that really understanding why horses do what they do, understanding the language of the horse. And again, having said that, I know a lot of people look at that and they'll go, oh yes, well, you know, I'm doing that, but we're not. Humans as a whole, we're not doing that. We've had horses for thousands and thousands of years, but our knowledge of the horse as a whole isn't any better than what it was 500 years ago. So we need to spend more time understanding that it's us that needs the education. Horses are easy to teach. Horses, it takes very little time at all to get any horse to a very high level, but it's us that needs to be spending the time on ourselves to become better with them, understand them. I think if you were to have an example of a horseman, they'd be somebody who works with a horse on a daily basis, and the horses are all calm, they're quiet, they're happy, they're relaxed, they're willing to go out and do whatever the job is that's put in front of them. Look at the horses, and that'll tell you if the person's a horseman or not.